So it's great to see so many of you here, and my name is Hannu Pikkarainen, and my job is to develop new services for Helen that we can offer to our customers. Then Helen was previously known as Helsingin Energia, and Helen is fully owned by the city of Helsinki. I was reading an interesting book some time ago, and it was written by a space scientist, and energy is a pretty interesting thing. That's one of the basic needs, and in that book it said that actually the next civilization after mankind, all it needs is material and energy. That's so kind of a basic thing there. So then let's come back to the Earth. Now 1 million, that's the amount of people we reach in Finland. We have around 400,000 customers, and when we include their households, we come to this number. We are the second largest energy company in Finland, and then we've had this type of customer surveys for 10 years. We've scored to be the best in them for the 10 years in the energy sector. Okay, that's all great, but now we need to kind of come to a new kind of a phase in how we kind of measure also customer satisfaction. So there's a good starting point, but we need to go further if I don't fall from the stage. So this is what we are known of. We have 3 big power plants in Helsinki area. You can see the chimney of one of them in the window. Then we have some more than 10 heating plants, and we have also a heat pump plant that is the biggest in its kind. Our main products are district heating, electricity, and then district cooling as well. The typical power plant efficiency in Europe is something like 40%. Our efficiency is around 90%, and that is because of the reason that we create we use the same process to create heat and power electricity. Now we have a great motivation to develop new services as well, because during the next after next 10 years, one of these big power plants will be closed down. So we need to find new ways of developing and building this energy for our customers, and we need all the innovation there as well. You can see the power plants, but it's not so well known that we are an energy market player as well. We have a trading department. We forecast and kind of follow the fuel price development, optimize it against our production, and use all the different kinds of financial instruments to do this part. We also manage energy portfolios of our big customers. This energy market is available for the big customers as well, but then we need to somehow bring also the consumers to be part of this energy market. So we've had this long history, over 100 years. It has been one way. The way of producing energy has been such that we produce it in one place, then we distribute it, and then it's consumed. Now the future will be two-way. It means that the consumer is not going to be a pure consumer anymore. The consumer will become an active player in the energy market. There are new technologies coming up. You have seen all the solar panels, different kind of renewable energies. Then also you've heard about and you've seen electric cars. And that's kind of the things you have seen. There are quite many other things that are not visible on this slide. One of them is this demand response. That's something that when the national grid, the national electricity grid, needs to be in balance all the time. So the production and consumption of electricity needs to be in balance. There we need the kind of that the demand side or the consumption is also participating in creating this balance. So one example of these two-way markets is this demand response in where a customer has some resources where he's using electricity, lighting, heating, engines, inverters, various kinds of things. Then on the national grid side, we have a need to balance the electricity network. So then we bring the customer to the national grid so that the frequency of the national grid can be controlled. This means that we need some technology here in between, but the business model is that the customer has something that has use in the energy market. And then the customer gets a compensation of this resource he's providing to the market. So in this two-way market, it will need different types of operations. If someone of you have solar panels in your house, okay, you use the energy for yourself, but you might have some excess energy as well that you could provide to someone. How can you sell that? Okay, as an energy company, we are buying that at the moment, but there could be your neighbor who could be interested in getting that. Or you produce such a type of energy that there is interest in the market. So we need to create a process and a business model for this. And this is the direction where we are going in the transformation of energy sector. I love the smell of data. I will not continue the sentence, but you know what I mean. It sounds like an opportunity. This 5.5 billion, that's the amount of data lines that our electricity customers produce in 1 year about their electricity consumption. 5.5 billion is not that much actually, but this is all relevant. And it exists, it's our customers' data, so we need to kind of ask their permission to use that data, but there is a tremendous opportunity to create value on this data. So why we're here? We are an energy brand, and of course the natural way of expanding our services, that's something that is related to energy. So we're looking for companies who have some product services, business models, ideas that are related to energy, energy saving, smart energy, anything like that. But also kind of enriching the energy data that we have available today. And this is just kind of the perspective we're coming from, but don't be shy with your proposal or idea if you have something else in mind. So this is not in any way limiting where we could go forward. Then we are, just to make it clear that we are ready to, of course, to cooperate, but we're also ready to invest and also acquire when we find the right opportunity to do that. And for those coming from the IoT or digital world, something that if you look at sorry about that. If you look at the Helen, can anyone guess, say some number of how many different IT systems we have at the moment? Give me a figure.
150.
You are on the right ballpark.
400.
400 is a bit too many. But anyway, that's the kind of an environment that it's a kind of a result of the long history. And for those coming from the IoT or digital world, we have developed an agile service development environment and call that H2. Second, we have modules on that platform available. Of course, that can be used. Of course, the interest you probably have is that we have customers there, but then we need to kind of authenticate, is it the right customer, whose data we're using or whose access we give there. And then also we certainly need to send a bill to the customer to get our business model working. So that type of models are available. And then this green box is your part. Then we need to have a look at and develop the business model, integrations, whatever are needed. And then, as last, we can provide a test environment to build the service, build the first mock-up service, have kind of test users, pilot users, etc.
Okay, I'm Thomas, and I have a small startup with friends from Belgium and Netherlands, and I'm the only Finn. We make solar batteries, both hardware and software, so we can probably work with a company like yours on the both ends. But there's a certain question that I'd like to ask specifically about Finland on the demand response. Like if I own my own battery right now, if I want to sell it to the grid, I basically can, but I would be double taxed on it if I'm an energy producer. Unless you own the battery, then you sell it to me as a service. Does this make sense?
I'll just repeat the question for the rest of the audience. So the question was, and I'll try my best, if you own the battery that you want to sell to the grid right now, you might be getting double taxed,
Yes,
right?
it's
But
possible to get double taxed.
yes, but if it's owned by Helen and they rent it to you, would that change the system?
And they compensate me instead of me earning money. I get credits from them.
Yes, and you get, okay.
To start with the taxation, that's valid for us as well. So in that sense, we're not in a different kind of a role there. We have an energy storage that was on one of my slides. It's kind of a huge central thing, and we're testing that and piloting that. And also the taxation is the same for us there. And what comes to the service part, then it's if we sell that, if you provide that as a service to you, then it's a type of a different thing than that we kind of trade electricity.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm kind of from startup of startups, from Phoenix that has burned but now is reviving. I'm from Nokia, but anyway.
Okay.
It seems to me that you have missed some quite important things in your pitch. First, you do own infrastructure. You are not only virtual deliver of electricity, right? At least in Helsinki area.
Sorry, I missed your...
So you do own the actual infra of electricity delivery. So like wires, cables, and up to the last mile to the customer house.
That's the question of do we own the electricity network in Helsinki? There are about 80 different electricity networks in Finland. And there's one network company, one network company taking care of the electricity network in one area, and that's the case in Helsinki as well. But that's only the transport part of the electricity. But then the energy, that's a free market trading, and we provide electricity to all customers
I
in
understand
whole
that.
Finland. Yeah.
But you are not only a virtual operator, you're only physical owner of the grid in some parts.
Yes, in Helsinki, the local network
Yes.
is part of.
Historically,
Helsinki.
yes.
Yes.
Okay, so basically you could explore this as well for quite many things. Well, for starters, you could basically do a general smart home for consumers, not only electricity related and energy related things. Also, basically, you could control all your equipment, because quite a lot of your equipment does have sensors, but those sensors are not connected to your backend for multiple reasons. Because that's legacy equipment or it's like cheaper equipment. But you could install basically devices which would collect all the needed information and would also collect the environmental information as well as an additional bonus. And you could both use this data for consumers and also resell this data. And well, you will have the full control of your equipment. And second, you could also, for example, explore the virtual, basically net and connectivity operator market as well. Because basically there are quite a lot of places in Finland where the level of cellular and well just connected internet's connectivity is very, very bad. So you could install your own base stations and become a virtual operator or even a real operator. So basically that's where Nokia could help in both areas. So thank you.
Okay, I did work for a few years for Nokia as well. So the question is that can we expand to kind of let's say explore the telecom part and expand.
Not only telecom part, but first like control your own equipment and also custom equipment.
Yes.
Mostly, and
Yes.
collect all the related data and plus additional data, environmental,
Yes,
ambient.
I mean the technology is there, and we've done that type of things already, and there are the opportunities as well as we have some. When we have a technology platform that is already existing or the infrastructure is already there, how do we kind of interface to that existing infrastructure to provide whatever services? So I mean, there's a lot of technology possibilities. Now the key thing is to find what is the business model, what is the service we're going to develop.
I'm from Feeling Stream, and we do analytics in customer service area. So you said that you have 400,000 customers, but you are reaching to 1 million customers, and you are worrying about how to get customer feedback and how to satisfy those customers. And now my question is, how open you are to pilot with a new way of measuring customer satisfaction?
We are open to that.
Great, because we want to try with one company, and it seems that if you are so open, then it's good for us. Thank
Great.
you.
Are we going to have more nice YouTube videos with Uusi Virtanen? Because that's what actually convinces me more to switch solar energy. The issue that I found is a lot of people, when I talk to them and ask them, hey, would you like to install solar panels, like the Fortum hack that would like to participate? And common response I get is, why would I? Or, oh, it's expensive, it's a lot of hassle. Or, as people mentioned, double taxes. So it seems like people are still convinced that solar energy is not good for them, not in terms of the energy that they get, but in terms of value that they receive. So how partially the joke about the videos is, how are you going to tackle that, for example?
Yeah, the kind of the what is the value of
Yeah.
what was the kind of the price you
Yeah.
pay for
Yes.
solar?
So
energy.
kind of like, where is the value for a customer? How are you going to change their opinion about the solar energy that is still there, that it's expensive, it's not good, it's not worth it, or I have to have some sort of special house for it? Like, it cannot be an apartment house. How can I install solar panels if I have an apartment and not the actual like house standing alone somewhere in the woods?
I don't know if you're aware of the solar panel service that we provide, because we have developed solar power as a service type of product, which is that you can have your own solar panel without owning a roof. So that's the kind of it was the first thing we did, this kind of a power plant, which was a great success. And of course there are different customer segments who have interest and who are kind of see that's the way how they want to participate into the development of this market. And I think it's part of the development of the market as well, that in the beginning it's more expensive. Then when the volumes grow, of course the cost structure becomes different. So I think it's a natural phase where we are at the moment.
So just kind of wait it out and then it's all going to settle.
Yeah. I mean, at least I see that's the kind of the natural trend. All energy comes from the sun. So why would you have some kind of more kind of tricky routes than going straight to the point?
Yeah.
What about some? You mentioned that you're looking to cooperate with startup in at least 3 different ways. You know, whether it's partnerships, investments, or acquisitions. Do you have any examples of what you've done already? I think you already mentioned that you have some.
We've done on this cooperate, but we've developed services for customers with partners. Some of them are startups, some of them are service design companies. So let's say modern service design, things like Scrum or sprints or things like that are kind of lean development. We're familiar with those things. And of course we are an energy brand, and startups talk to us. So I mean that has happened. And we find some startups to work with, we have done. But those companies who are kind of working on energy type of things, of course they are aware that there are a few energy companies in Finland. But then there might be some other opportunities that are not so evident for other type of startups and other types of products in this transformation of the energy sector, which is kind of a hugely transforming at the moment that you haven't recognized yet.
All right. And what about the investment on acquisitions, right? Like, what is your thinking there? What do you want to do in that space? Are you going to be investing only in energy companies, or are you going to be investing in other type of companies? And what's the process? Do they just send you an email, or how do they get in touch with you if they want to talk about it?
I think the email or phone call, they are the starting points to that, and then
the price tag and.
Yeah, of course that's part of that. But then of course the kind of the let's say when we can see the kind of a common win-win opportunity, then I think that's of course a natural way of starting from there.
All the corporates are kind of like eager to work with the startups currently. How ready you are to change? So if you find a kind of like a perfect solution to change the interface with the consumers or a new business model, how ready you are to implement it throughout the company?
Let's say my question would be that why wouldn't we be eager to change? We see the opportunities that are there in the transformation now. Then there are some things that we actually need to develop. As I mentioned, that one of the big power plants will be closed. So that's a kind of a natural driver for us to develop something new as well. Then we have this history where we have this a number of IT systems, and that's where we need to find a workable solution how to develop, and that's something I showed you today, how we can actually move forward faster than waiting for all the things to be in place before we kind of launch something.
Hi, this is definitely a stupid question, but it's bothering me, so I'm asking it anyway. So imagine you have all the data of the energy consumption of your customers. So if you would find that, okay, let's say big companies could use less energy if they did certain things, then isn't it not in your best interest to tell them that, because then they would use less energy? Of course, they would be happy customers if they could save, but how do you compensate the loss of money?
If you look at us as an energy companies, we are brokers. Our customers consume, or they use energy. We need to buy more fuel or oil or coal or gas or whatever. So the money, we throw the money away from our society in Finland in that way. So wouldn't it be valuable to make it in a more clever way, so that we can win? The customer can win, and we can do it also in a smarter way as an energy company. So in that sense, it's not in our benefit that the customer pays more.
If you have smart infrastructure, the customer, in the end, like the cost will be passed to the customers in the end anyway. So no matter how you twist it, the costs to the customer would increase by a few percent points anyway, because there will be new hardware to install. But on the positive side, flip side, you would have better quality of service and save in the long term, right?
If we look at the heating in Helsinki area, we have a demand response equipment for the heating for the water. Those are the big tanks that you can see by the chimney on the window. So there are big water reserves, and that's the way of doing it today. But there are other ways of kind of creating the demand response for heating as well. More intelligence in the heating systems, in thermostats and so on.